All right, we're out here in the barn. We received a couple inches of rain last night and yesterday. It's too muddy to do anything else. And I've got issues with this portaband. We need this to be able to cut the post off on the greenhouse. And like any other farm tool, this one's been neglected a bit. It's been beat up, left out in the rain by accident. And it's been a very good tool for how much abuse it's taken. So before I start on this, the problem is this is a variable speed control with a safety switch on top, and then you got your normal trigger. So yesterday when I went to use this, of course, this is several years old at this point, but this still, if I had to replace this is a $300 plus tool. Don't want to replace it. Now, I'm not recommending that you do this, but if you have the aptitude and the know-how, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to fix a couple of these things. Yes, we're going to be bypassing a safety on this, but it's just me using it, and it saves us $300 and something. So, with that being said, don't do this. But if you're going to, you remove all the bolts that hold this handle together, and then there's two on top here that hold to the motor case. We're only going to be taking this front half of the case off to get into the electric circuits and everything. I did originally take these two bolts out, but you do not have to take those out. Just got to take out these front sides and then these two that bolt into the frame. Now, once you get all those out, you might have to use a screwdriver to pop it apart a little bit. Well, and you'll be opened up to this. So basically, you have your incoming power here. It's going up, hitting a terminal block, and then going up to the switch. So once you hit this switch, normally it should give you power. But since there is a safety in line here, the power actually goes to this safety, and then once you engage the safety, it then goes to the trigger, and when you pull the trigger, it will then go to the variable control, and of course out to the motor. So this safety switch, I'm pretty sure is bad. I can order one, probably will, as long as it's reasonable and it's still available, because these are like cell phones. They just make new models, and sometimes they keep the parts, sometimes they discontinue them. So where we can get this to use it, all we're going to be doing is, because I'm more than certain it's in this safety switch, we're going to just disconnect from these terminals, and we're going to straight wire these together. That way, the only thing stopping this from running is the trigger. Again, I do not recommend that, but it's getting me out of a pinch and saving a pretty good chunk of money. Okay, we're back. So you can see I do have this piece of equipment unplugged. Make sure anytime you do anything like this that the equipment is unplugged. And I know it's not hooked to any other power source because this is actually coming from the house right now, and we have yet to run power over to the barn. It's one of those next projects we're going to be doing. We've got all the supplies here. We've got to go get a trencher and run power to the barn. With that being said, here is the switch I took out, the safety switch. You can tell it does not work. So here's where it used to be, and we'll actually stick that back in there because I don't want to leave this open to be able to stick your finger in there and, getting shocked. So what we've done is I'd actually cut loose this black wire here, and there was a red wire coming up from this terminal. Well, they don't leave you no slack in there to be able to join those two together because they probably figure somebody like me is going to do this. So what I've done is this wire here is actually a lot bigger diameter than what was originally here, so it made it a little bit of a pain to get it into this terminal, but we went ahead and replaced this. Now, the only reason I used the bigger wires, it's because that's what I had available. And it actually come off like a old sprayer pump motor, which is right there. That's why we don't throw anything away. We use everything we can because, one, it saves us a trip off from the farm, and where we live at to the store to get anything round trip is at least an hour. So if you can save a few things here and there, not saying collect a bunch of junk like I do, but it does save you on days like today. So I would recommend putting this cover back on before you try this, because once you energize this piece of equipment, this is all going to have power on it, and you don't want to shock yourself. So put it back together, least you won't shock yourself. I am not going to do that just to test to make sure that this works before I put it back together, but I do not recommend that. Okay, so I've now got the power hooked to this. This is all live. I've tested voltage, incoming power, 120 volts, give or take. Excuse the animals, hens are down here laying and the pigs are in heat, so they're all being very loud. The speed controller works. This button was froze up. I've taken it apart and checked continuity. It was not working. I also have a problem in this trigger, because when I depress the trigger here, I should be getting something. But if I play with the trigger, let's see, you can hear it starting to kick in. So there's actually issues in this trigger assembly. And that's going to keep us from being able to run. So I'm going to have to look up some parts for this guy and see if I can't find this trigger assembly. And while I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and order this safety switch too and put it back the way that it was. But through process elimination, we know this trigger is bad now. But we couldn't verify that until we verified that the safety was bad as well. So until we can do that and get some more parts in here, we are stuck on this project. We'll follow up once we have the parts and have it fixed, or you will see it in use in the next greenhouse video. Thank you for watching.